there's 5 main components to a wine. The first one is sweetness. So sweetness is measured grams per liter. And what it is it's just leftover sugars in the wine, just from the natural winemaking process. The yeast that they add to the wine eats the sugars and then converts that into alcohol. Anything that's kind of left over is just the residual sugar, as they call it. So most wines generally are between 0 and I'd say 25 grams per liter. So that'd be your average, like, typical bottle that you kind of take out. So there's languages like dry wine, off dry, and sweet. So dry is kind of in that category of 1 to 17 grams per liter, off dry being 17 to like 35. And then anything above 35 is considered a sweet wine, something you kind of have at the end of a meal as opposed to something you would have mid-meal. An off dry wine is kind of that happy medium between the two, where you could have it at the end of dinner or you could have it with a dish. And just something that's very commonly confused is fruitiness and sweetness. So fruitiness is the presence of what you would kind of taste in a fruit. And sweetness is the actual sweetness. So the best way to kind of look at it is if something tastes like blueberries, it's blueberry without the sugar. It's kind of just the pure essence of what a blueberry is, essentially. So just something to think about when you talk about fruitiness and sweetness. The next thing is acidity. So acidity is essentially the sour taste in a wine. It's also the mouth-watering sensation. Best way to kind of explain that is if you bit into like a lemon wedge, you kind of like pucker up and you make a sour face and your mouth waters and you might cry a little bit. That's acidity. And that's generally measured between low, medium, and high. Low being like water, medium being like lemon water, and then high being like a lemon juice.
Got it.
And when you are tasting the wine, the best way to kind of gauge where the acidity level is at is kind of just take a sip and you hang your mouth open a little bit, and you'll kind of feel you salivate a bit. And if you have to stop yourself right away from dripping on yourself, it's high acid. If it's a little slower, then you're looking between low and medium. And then the next thing, which pertains mainly to red wines, is tannins. So tannins is the drying sensation in a wine. It's the bitter component in the wine as well. Think of like over steeping a black tea, and you go to take a sip and you're like, that essentially is what tannins are. Feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have any questions. I encourage questions.
We'll drink though.
So again,